Welcome to the Featured Anime Podcast. I'm your host, Jack.
And I'm Rick.
And today we are talking about BOFURI. I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense. This was your choice this week, right, Rick?
It was my choice based on, well, I watched it and I thought it was kind of funny. And we were actually talking about it on Discord a lot.
We were. Yeah. Me, and Cats, we were talking about it as the episodes were coming out, talking about our hopes and dreams for it, and to kind of get us a little bit of a time frame. So this aired in January 2020 all the way through March 25th, 2020. So just recently ended too. On top of that, producer for it was Kadokawa. Studio is Silverlink. It's based on a light novel, and the genres for it are action, adventure, comedy, fantasy, sci-fi, and it's 12 episodes long.
Yeah, I wish it was longer, mainly because I don't feel like the time was given justice, but whatever.
Well, I mean, if you stayed to watch through the very end, there is a teaser for season 2.
We can hope.
We can only hope. That is the one consensus I can say that we all have, is we all hope that there will be a season 2.
Well, considering that this was a fairly short, I would say, show for season 1 at least, I think a lot happened. It brought my attention in a lot, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. It got me to care about the characters fairly early on without really trying, it felt like.
Yeah. This one actually has a lot going for it, in the sense that instead of the character being all powerful, in a sense, Maple who is the main character. She is all powerful, just not in the way that you're thinking, and not because it's deliberate. The title for it really just speaks for itself. She doesn't want to get hurt, and so she invests her entire skill points, all of her points, every last one of them, in one category: vitality, because she doesn't want to get hurt. She wants to actually stay okay throughout the whole thing. She doesn't like getting hurt.
I was watching it, and it was frustrating at the very, very beginning, because I've used that logic before, where I just throw everything into defense, and it doesn't scale the same way in this anime as it does in real life. And I think it's a broken gaming system, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, no, most definitely it is a broken gaming system, but I honestly have to say, even though it's a broken gaming system, she's not doing it to break the game mechanics. She's just doing it and because she just wants to have fun.
Yeah, it wasn't on purpose, that's for sure.
So honestly, that's how it all starts off. Is her friend Sally, Maple's friend Sally, says, "Hey, you should come play games. It's a new game. It's actually really good. I hear great things about it, and it's a virtual reality world." Now they do, and this is one of the things that I actually really enjoy about this is they talk about how sometimes if you're in the middle of a game, or if you're in a game for an extended session, your body still thinks that it's in that extended session. And so you have to give yourself a little bit of time to reacclimate to the real world.
Yeah, there was an episode where she was outside. She's like, "I can tank this." Oh, no, I can't.
Right. Yeah, puts up her shield. She acts like she's about to bash someone with her shield, and it's like, cool, kind of cool it there, Maple. It's all right. It's cool. No worries. You know, you're not in the you're not in the gaming world anymore. You're in the real world, and there are a couple of small instances where they do pull you from the game world and put you in the real world, so that way you have that break, that mentality, or not that mentality, but so that way you have that understanding that, hey, it may be days or weeks or anything like that going on in the game. In the real world, it's not that long. And they even make a reference to that too. They said that for the events that are going on, they're going to speed up time for this event. So it basically feels like you're in rapid mode and you're going through it really fast. And in actuality, it's only a couple of hours. It's only a few hours when this actually had taken place, as opposed to a week like what happens in the game.
Now, do they do that normally, or is that just a special thing? I couldn't really tell. I thought that they said that in the special, the 3 weeks would be sped up, but only because it was a special. I don't know the time scaling that is typically done.
Right. I would assume that the time scaling is it's not normally that fast. It probably has a lot slower time scale for it, so that way it's not a week span in the span of a couple of hours.
Okay, I can see that.
But I mean, overall, I honestly got to say I was actually really pleased with the show. It was a good story, and this was a very light-hearted show. It was good. It had decent story. It wasn't that it had to go deep into plot, because there were no deep subplots. It was more along the lines of, hey, I'm just here to have some fun. And that's exactly what happens. That's all Maple cares about, is just going out there having fun. And the fact that she doesn't care and that she's just innocent and out there to have fun really draws the other people to her.
Well, what I thought was kind of interesting is, even though that she dedicated everything to defense, she was not a strong player until she had a comrade, until her friend Sally came into the picture. Yes, she could handle herself, but she couldn't really do the experience stuff. And even under the first level boss, she would have lost on her own, at least initially. And that's kind of what drew me in, because it made me feel like the show is trying to put a message: teamwork makes the dream work, kind of, not necessarily under that banner, but under that guise.
Well, yeah, and that really comes to play together when the event starts happening. It's everyone, they see that Maple's like kind of having a hard time for the third event, and they're trying to cheer her up. It's like, hey, don't worry about it. We got your back. We'll help you out. We'll do what we can. Don't worry about it. Just like trying to help her really maintain that positive attitude.
Well, yeah, I can see that. But like in the first event, she completely dominated by accident. And what was hilarious to me was she had, I would say, such an unorthodox way of playing that the admins of the game had to nerf her abilities. Basically, only her abilities.
Yeah. It's funny, too, because even at the very end, they come to realize it's like, hey, why don't we just take this hands-off approach instead of trying to figure out how we can nerf Maple anymore, because if we start nerfing her, it's going to piss off a lot of people. And a lot of people, Maple is the face of the game because she's just out there. She's having fun. And instead of just trying to figure out what we can do to nerf her, because it's causing a lot of people to come in, they're grinding, they're putting a lot of time into the game just so they can have the opportunity to be able to go and fight her. And all the crazy abilities that she ends up getting that no one else has.
Dude, it's nuts. Think about this. By the end, she still has no points in anything but defense. So she's rocking basically a fortress. You can't touch her.
Unless you're someone like a Pain.
Pain in and of itself is an anomaly. That's what you get when you have someone who probably is nothing but grind. Could be considered a professional gamer in any circle, because Pain in every event, Pain was number one by a very large margin.
Oh yeah.
Like it was nuts. Like, he basically dominated everybody through his own superior strength. And I was always wondering what would happen if Maple went up against Pain, because you've got someone who is, I would say, a good gamer versus someone who is solid defense. And we were able to find that out, I think unfairly, but we were able to find that out later.
Oh yeah.
It was Maple all the way.
Well, just barely too, you know? I mean, like it wasn't like it was a clean victory or a slate of victory. And even Payne says, you know, when he's about to be defeated, he goes, I shouldn't have panicked. That was my folly. I should not have panicked.
Yeah, if he had a cooler head, he would have won.
Yeah. And, you know, but then again, at the same time, when you see, you know, Maple go from this little girl that's a shielder to a giant demon 4-armed mess that's basically kind of the equivalent of a alien. You know, you kind of lose your cool. You can't exactly keep your cool head.
Well, the thing that kind of annoyed me, and what I will say is I did read portions of the manga. The thing that annoyed me is it didn't translate well into the animation, because everything you see kind of seems happenstance. It seems on accident, where, you know, these gifts, let's call it, she receives, these perks that no one else has, they seem relatively easy to get if you just looked for them. For instance, her total defense. What the manga tells you is you have to let an animal or an opponent hit you without blocking for an hour straight to get this. It's not an easy achievement to get because you'll get bored, and either that or they'll kill you. Because she was playing, quote unquote, with the little rabbit at the very beginning, she got the total defense because she didn't kill it on purpose, she killed it on accident. And her total poison defense, in the anime, it shows her like, I'm going to just try it because I can. Whereas in the manga, she actually did a little bit of research. She didn't go blind into the fight, and she was using the ring that she got that gives her health. She was using meditation, and she was using health potions, I would say interchangingly. And it was very thoughtful and a very good gamer mentality, or a good strategy for a gamer to reach poison immunity. And one of the things that kind of annoyed me, but I was happy to read the manga for, was when she bites things or when she eats things, she's absorbing their life points. So she's gaining life when she eats these things. And they're under, I think it was mana drain or HP drain is the attack she uses when she bites.
Okay. Yeah, see, and that's one of the things that I actually would have loved for them to have gone into more detail over. But at the same time, I kind of get why they didn't want to, because of the amount of time and the number of episodes that they have. So they probably didn't want to try and go into too much detail about the overall strategy behind everything. And at the same time, why and the details of everything else, they kind of just give you a snapshot of it. She figures out fighting this one person that she can get poison immunity from this before she goes into this layer where there's this Hydra, and she defeats the Hydra like that. Cause if you kind of couple it together, she goes in there and she has a little bit of an idea of what she's going to do, but she doesn't really go into the full details of it, or you don't have the full details behind it, which was really, in and of itself, I thought it was still really good. It was a nice plot point, because she didn't go in there saying, I'm just going to see if I can have this happen. She goes in there and has that mentality like, I'm going to try and have this happen.
Yeah, no, it was refreshing to see that it wasn't a boastful, I can do anything mentality. In most cases, like, she'll get hit and act like she took damage when she doesn't, because she still thinks she did. And it takes a second to go, oh, wait, no, that didn't happen. Never mind. And I thought it was awesome. I enjoyed it for what it was. But when I watched it again, it was really annoying me. That's why I went to the manga to see if there was anything extra. And yeah, I feel like episode 1, 2, 3, and then 5, 6 were done really well. Episode 4 seemed a little bit of a filler, and everything past that seemed like they were trying to cram everything in at the very end, like they were not expecting a season 2.
Right. Even though at the very end of episode 12, they tease like there is going to be a season 2. one of the things that I didn't really like is that they show Maple or everyone else, like all the other side characters, with the exception of Kurumu. He gets another set of armor, and he actually dons that armor most of the time. Whereas of everyone else, they get a different set of armor or a new set of armor, and you see it once, maybe twice at most, and that's it, including for Maple.
Are you referring to her white suit?
Her white suit, and also her white shield that she had custom made for her. You don't really see anything other than her standard default look throughout it, even though she has received custom equipment. There's a episode where she does wear something else, and then halfway through the episode, towards the end, I think it's like episode 9, she ends up going right back to her normal look.
Yeah. Well, see here, check this out. This is a perfect example of what I wish they would have said originally, or what I wish they would have changed versus what the manga does. You know how her like, I'm going to call it super overpowered badass armor and shield? They're invincible, they do not break, and, well, if they do break, they come back stronger, like a Super Saiyan or something like that. If you break it, whatever broke it before won't break it again. That kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, and you get the kind of that sense when they do fight this boss, her armor does break, and then it regenerates instantly, which you do get that kind of that feel, but at the same time, they don't go into the details of it. And
yeah. Well,
go ahead.
My point with that was, what you see her do is she puts the skill Devour into her shield.
Yeah.
Now, when you read the skill Devour, it says it takes MP to use. Well, by putting it into her shield, what they don't tell you is you can't take it out of the shield. It's a one-time thing. And if that shield goes away, or you don't use that shield anymore, you don't have that ability to use that technique anymore. But by putting it in your shield, you bypass the requirement for MP cost, and it actually saves MP for you. You can store whatever you devour into that shield as usable MP, which is why when she uses the Omega Hydra, when facing the boss, you see one of those crystals disappear. That happened in the manga, that happened in the anime where the crystal disappeared, but I wish they would have explained that a little bit better than just trying to show us that one time.
Right. And again, it goes really to the fact that it was just 12 episodes long. They had so much to kind of try and fill in, but such a short amount of time to fill it in with. It was, yeah. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. I think it's a great show. I thought it was really good. It was nice. It was a great change of pace from what we normally watch. But
yeah, that's true.
But I gotta say, at the same time, I wish they went into a little bit more detail. I think this would have been better off being a 25 episode anime. Oh,
easily. Absolutely. It's something I would definitely watch for 2 seasons. 100%. Now, don't get me wrong. Funimation, it was Funimation, right?
The licensor for America, yeah.
Okay. Well, Funimation came out with some pretty awesome standout shows for this last season, but top among them is BOFURI.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, for what they brought over, definitely. But yeah. BOFURI, it's good. I want to see a season 2, though. I mean, like, most definitely I want to see a season 2. And I will be disappointed if there is no season 2, especially with that teaser at the end. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, with the popularity of this show, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't.
Right.
Like, if you watch it once through and you're not critical like I am, I wish I wasn't sometimes, but because I'm critical, I see things that other people, I guess, don't get to. It makes me a little bit of a Debbie Downer.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, like, it just gives you a different perspective on it. We all have our different viewpoints, our different perspectives. Some of them are right, some of them are wrong, like yours, but, in the end, it doesn't really matter.
I was gonna say, some of them are right, some of them are your opinion, but whatever.
It works.
Oh man.
I mean, honestly, and this is how I can view the when I watch this show. when you and we tend to play, you and I are kind of a little bit like Maple and Sally in that regard. I think, anyways.
Yeah. No, you got a point, because I usually go hyper focused in one area, whereas you're more, I hate to say it, well rounded, and you usually can cover my ass when I come to an area where I'm not, my skill set doesn't excel, let's say.
True, but at the same time, we tend to complement each other in that regard. So, when I was watching this, I was like, what, that's totally Rick and I. That is totally us right there. We, he tends to specialize in one particular area. I tend to try and be a little bit more well-rounded, or tend to specialize in another area entirely, and it really complements each other. I mean, but then again, at the same time, you have to have that connection with that person. So Maple and Sally, they knew each other in the real world. And from Maple talking to Sally about how she's gaming, how she's playing, Sally instantly was like, well, I know exactly how I'm going to play, and it'll be perfect because we'll be able to complement each other.
Yeah, and I thought it was done brilliantly. What I thought was very funny is in the season, or in the anime, you'll be able to see that while Maple goes for pure defense and she's able to make it work, there are two other characters that go pure offense, and they're not able to do anything. They're too slow to attack. They are a one-shot wonder, a glass cannon, if you will.
Yep.
And it takes Maple going over to them and be like, hey, tell you what, I actually have this skill that lets me pass on my defense to you. I don't have any attack, and you're all attack. If we get to the same level, we'll be an unstoppable team.
Yeah.
And when she brought them on, it was beautiful. But when that happened, I was like, what happens if you've got a pure defense, a pure attack, a pure agility, and like, what would you do if you could get all of the purists in one group? Would that work? And in my head, no, it wouldn't, because if all you have is speed, you got no strength to throw anybody, to pick some up, to drag people around. For instance, when Sally spawns in and adjusts all of her stuff, you'll notice in the anime that Maple was not wearing her armor. The reason for that is because with all of her armor on, Sally couldn't carry her.
Yep. And it's not because Sally had focused entirely on agility. She was specializing in agility, but she had other stats to help her out. And she was more tactical in how she would go through and put it all together, how she would implement it all, so to speak. So when she's gaining levels, when she first gets in there, she has a bunch of skill points. And Maple asks her, hey, aren't you going to apply them? She goes, yeah, I will, but I'm going to wait until I earn some other skills, because that too will affect how you play and affect the skills that you earn.
And I thought that was kind of brilliant, because she was saving her stuff. She was what you would consider to be a pro player or a pro enthusiast, because she did have medals and she did have all these other things that awards from other games.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about her little, well, I'm not going to call them quirks, but her bonuses that nobody else saw coming. The one alien thing we were looking at came with a few different specialties, such as Predator. And when she goes into this full alien garb, alien transformation, she gets 1,000 life. And here's the kicker. When it gives her like 50 in everything as far as attack, speed, all this stuff. So she becomes a powerhouse just by that. And when you kill that, when you bring all 1,000 points down to 0, which is a feat in and of itself, she reverts back to how she was before the change happened. So if she was at full health, went into this thing, she comes back to full health. Alternatively, if she comes into this thing at 1 health, she comes back to 1 health. But it's like having a second stage of a boss. It's crazy.
Oh, yeah. And what's funny is even a lot of the other characters, all the other players in the world, and even the admins even say that Maple is basically like the final boss of the game without meaning to be the final boss of the game. She's more of the final boss than the final boss itself.
Case in point, I want to say it was the second event, they go into a boss fight that is supposed to be impossible to beat, and Maple basically tanks through it. And the admins are like, wait, what happened? No, we made that unbeatable. Who beat that?
We were basically trolling players with the number of skills and stats we put on this thing. How is it possible to let someone defeat this? And then they realize it's Maple. And they're like, really? Like, wait, is this a joke? I mean, like, are we kidding? And it's like, and then they go to the next boss. It's the Underwater King, and it's funny the reaction that Sally gives, because the boss is, you have to basically kill the boss in the water because it's a giant squid. So Maple has this great idea. Well, I'll use my Hydra poison ability, and I'll just poison the water, and it kills the boss in like no time flat.
Yeah, the Sea King. She's just like, ah. And what's nuts to me is how few people in this anime have poison resistance or have paralyzed resistance. She was OP to begin with. If you were to find anybody with a paralyzed AoE, area of attack skill, or poison area of attack skill, you could just power through everything. Like, it'd be nuts. And if I were her, I'd have my entire crew just straight up with hey, let me poison you little by little, get your resistance up, kind of thing. But she doesn't, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah, but at the same time, not everyone would want to sit there and go through it, or has the vitality to be able to withstand something like that.
That is true. Sally would not have the vitality because she didn't put anything into it.
So she put some stats into it, but not anywhere near the amount that would be required for it.
That's true. But man, I know I'm critical of it only because I liked it so much. I'm not typically critical of shows that I didn't enjoy. But yeah, like, and talk about overpowered, as if she doesn't have enough attacking skills already. She has, what was it, the machine god that she picked up on accident because she fell down a hill.
Yeah. Picks up a gear. They release the third level of the game. She goes there and just accidentally or haphazardly falls down and comes across this one thing, puts the gear in there, and then basically ensues a fight with defense versus, ultimate attack abilities, basically, and fights and wins. I mean, granted, I am super summarizing it. It is a lot better when you watch it, but at the same time, when you get to that point, you're like, yeah, I saw that coming. I knew that was going to happen.
Well, everything was predictable. Everything that we saw in here was unfortunately predictable. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it would have been a lot better. Again, just going right back to it, I think it would have been a lot better. 25 episodes, go into a little bit more detail. It wouldn't have mattered if it was predictable. It would have been better if it had fleshed out a lot more details.
Yeah. I did like, however, the fact that you mentioned that Kurumu got a new
armor set?
A new armor set that he was wearing. I enjoyed the fact that in order to get this, you had to beat the boss on the first try, but you also have had to die a couple times before. And his response to doing this is, hey, I'm a pro at dying.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I feel that, bro. I feel that.
I got you, man. Right there. I feel you. Yeah, and it's not that you just die a couple times. You have to die and be revived a few times. So you have to, and it's the only way you can actually get into this dungeon. So Maple, who has never died, will never be able to go into that dungeon.
Yeah. It seems like a decent enough game. There are more than a few issues I have with it, but if they came out with this in real life, I'd be one of the first in line to buy it.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Same
here.
They
have Oculus Rift, and I'm granted, I'm not first in line to buy that. It's already out. I don't have it yet. I recently found out what it takes, but I'm building my own computer for it. So
Eventually, maybe. I mean, they do have other ways you can join in on the fun of it all. But anyway, I think this is a good spot on a scale of up to 10, sir. How would you rate this?
My first pass through was a solid 9. My second pass through, a very weak 8.
All right, so an 8.
Yeah, an 8. For all the reasons I said, I wish they'd fleshed it out more. The animation was good. The story has superb potential. The manga definitely helped in my understanding, and I'd watch it again. And the dub is coming out. I think there's only 6 episodes out right now of the dub.
9,
I think
actually. So
9.
Okay. Yeah. So
as of the recording, it's only 9. Okay, I'll take it.
They're coming out weekly, so they are getting caught up. So which is a bonus. I was watching. I originally watched it all the way through subbed. Started watching it the second time through dubbed. I'm not disappointed. It's actually pretty good.
Really? I'll have to give it a shot. I know my significant other wants to watch it as well, and I'm like, I realize you don't like subs that much. I think part of it's dubbed, so that gives me the perfect opportunity.
Yep, it'll be good. It's actually not that bad. I gotta echo your score on this. I gotta go with an 8, mainly because I did enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Wasn't disappointed on the second time through. Picked up on a couple of small things that I did not pick up on the first time through, like the fact on how early on they introduce Yui and Mei, the two that maxed out their strength. They actually introduced them pretty early.
Yeah, but you don't know it. I liked the foreshadowing. Oh
yeah. And so I picked that up on the second time through more so, and I paid a little bit more attention to everything, and overall wasn't disappointed. It was good. So 8. The animation was clean. Just wish it was longer, a little bit more fleshed out, and that's about it. So
nice.
Next week is my choice.
It is. I'm very curious as to what you'll be showing us.
Well, you know what? It's been a while since I hit on them feels. So we're gonna watch Violet Evergarden.
Oh no! I started watching that.
Yeah, we're gonna watch it. We're watching that. My wife. A couple of different times while we were watching it, just to kind of give everyone an idea of what's in store for them. A couple of times after she was done bawling her eyes out of one of the episodes, I'd turn to her and say, "You want to watch another episode?" Her response is, "You could go F yourself." I'm not anymore. My eyes are puffy. I'm crying. No more tonight. So.
Oh man, it's going to be a roller coaster for me, I'm sure.
It's a great series. It's one of my favorites. In all honesty, it's really good. Definitely hits on them feels. It is 13 episodes long. It originally came out in January 2018. It ran through April 2018. Producers, we'll get into that a little bit later on. Genres are drama, fantasy, and of course, your favorite slice of life.
Yep.
Yep. It is honestly, it's a great show. I recommend it to anyone and everyone. And if you have seen it, if you've seen this week's choice, last week's choice, any of the other choices, let us know what you thought of it. And let us know if we missed anything, if you feel like we didn't do something justice, or if you want to have us do kind of a deeper dive on a series, let us know. We will be happy to do it for you. Unless it's a hated one, in which case we will not be happy to do it for you, but we will still do it regardless. We also have our Discord link in the show notes. Feel free to reach out to us on there and chat us up. You can also email us at featuredanimepodcast@gmail.com, at those anime guys on Twitter, Featured Anime Podcast on Facebook. And if you want, you can even leave us a comment, YouTube, and I'll be happy to respond to you on there. Until next time, I'm Jack.
And I'm Rick, and we'll see you next time.